right, everyone. Well, welcome to another edition of Taking Stock Live, where we do just that. We take stock, as we've done for hundreds of years in the retail and CPG industry, but we do it in the modern way to really take stock of what are the trends, what are the ideas, and who are the change makers that we need to follow to make sure we're adjusting to the new market realities that we live in. Today is going to be super fun and high energy. Literally, I get to welcome someone who I work with, but also call a dear friend in my Microsoft family, Elisabeth Brinton, who is the corporate vice president of sustainability. Really, you've made it your life's work to be, as you said, I was just watching you on another podcast, a tree hugger, and all about sustainability. You've had a 30-year career where you've developed, commercialized, and scaled new technology and new business models across the globe. You come to us with just this deep industry knowledge of sustainability, finance, energy transition, providence, business model innovation across many markets, sectors, transformations, including new environmental products across carbon, electrification, food, ag, water, and circularity. And so even though you lead a horizontal business, as we think about it, sustainability really is a horizontal. Obviously, this is top of mind for retailers and brands around the globe. So, Elisabeth, just first off, huge welcome. I'm so thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Shelley. Well, I love working with you too. And it's awesome to be part of the Microsoft family. And it is, as you said, it is the perfect time to be linking together great business, growth and profitability and sustainability, because they really all go together.
They really do. And so usually on this podcast, I ask people to talk about their first job in retail or CPG. A little bit different today, given your background, but maybe talk about what was your first job in the area of sustainability?
Well, I have to answer my first retail job too, because it's pretty cool. And okay. It links together because my very first job in retail was as a teenager for REI in Seattle. And I worked at the original REI store in Seattle. And it was a perfect example of that combination, my love for the outdoors, as was mentioned. And from the very, very beginning, REI had a mission for how you grow a great business, but using sustainable products and technologies of the day in apparel, thinking about actually with thoughtfulness about how you would merchandise that apparel and everything like that. And they have taken that forward through the decades. And something really special is that in 2008, I won a global International Women Who Means Business award. And the person who gave that award was Sally Jewell, who was the CEO of REI at the time. And so it was so much fun because I got to tell her my childhood story of, working at REI. And then, she, of course, as well has the same sort of deep sustainability mission. We both focused on it in a commercial manner. And so it just shows you that great companies and great brands can actually differentiate themselves by how they make their products, how they source their products, how they run their businesses in a sustainable manner. And that drives profitability. It drives differentiation, brand loyalty, all those cool things.
Well, listen, it's funny, like you and I have sat together in a lot of places. I never knew that you actually started at REI, and I'm not at all surprised to hear that, as you said. They have been, they were, I think, actually one of the first U.S. retailers to close themselves on Black Friday and say,
exactly,
rather than shopping, take it outside. And so they have been a leader not only in sustainability, but really in terms of employee engagement and retention. And we've been privileged to partner with them on the Microsoft side as well.
Exactly. They're amazing. And that kind of leads into then my first company I founded after university was actually in sustainable food and agriculture, my first business. And it was I took a lot of things that I learned from that experience that I had. And so, as you said, every step of my career has been that nexus between sustainability and commerciality. So doing well by doing good. And so that very first business was actually a nexus of how you solve food safety, which is a pressing issue in the produce industry, linking that with convenience and health, and then how you do that with sustainability. And so it was actually the introduction of what we now call value-added produce, or lettuce in a bag. So down in Salinas in California. And so that was my first company that I founded a long time ago. And it was a huge privilege to be able to put that whole category on the map. And then that actually changed retail, because back in the day, the produce department of grocery did not have refrigeration, which part of how you make the margin work is you have to solve for energy efficiency, because refrigeration is expensive. And one of the biggest fixed costs for moving food around, actually 12% of the global electricity use is for cooling and refrigeration of food for food safety. So again, my company was solving for convenience for the consumer, packaged produce, easy to go, pre-washed, ready to go, solving for efficiency, good for the planet, and solving for margin growth for grocery and for the agriculture, all the way down to the grower level. And so when you combine those things creatively, you are doing the right thing for people, business, and the planet. And that, to me, is why I have such a passion about sustainability commercially, is because you are actually solving multiple things together. So it's kind of like three-dimensional chess. It is a little bit more complex, but you get these outcomes that are really differentiating, really great for brands, really drive the customer loyalty, and really build good businesses that give you higher margin and growth.
Wow. I mean, it's so interesting. And, first off, you said 12% of refrigeration is actually used.
12% of global electricity use is refrigeration of food.
Wow. Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And especially in today's environment. I mean,
exactly.
I was just on with a retailer. They're trying to figure out how to bring their energy costs down right now. And so,
exactly. So wow. It's an immediate way. And so one of the ways we can, with Microsoft, one of the ways that we can help are partnering with companies that have smart sensors. You talk about refrigeration. I don't know if you've been to a grocery store lately, but now they've introduced with LED light bulbs and sensors that the refrigerated sections, like for milk or, frozen foods or whatever, actually go dark when people aren't walking by. And then the light comes on with a motion sensor that can cut out, double-digit percentage of electricity usage on a daily, monthly basis, which goes right to the bottom line for the store operator.
I mean, it's incredible. This company that I was just speaking to is actually physically having to close their stores right now because the energy costs are so high that they can't afford. And this is a major brand that they can't afford. Wow.
Right. And so this is where we can, to me, sustainability, it's about making it real. It's very practical. And so I've been a practitioner my whole life of these, roll up your sleeves, super practical, get in there and solve it.
Well, I mean, you're leading me right to my next question, because you've had these extremely relevant, targeted experiences that I assume prepared you for the role at Shell and then prepared you for the role at Microsoft. But can you tell us a little bit about this journey and evolution of your career?
Sure. Well, exactly right. So simply put, I was an entrepreneur. I did 4 successful companies, took IPO and sale. And then I became an intrapreneur, where I realized this nexus around energy and sustainability and climate and supply chain, how all these things fit together, and that for big corporates to actually move and be relevant and growthful going forward, it really got down to sort of the heart, the DNA of how companies operate. And so then I became an entrepreneur and started the big corporate transformations. And all of this led me to Microsoft, because all of it has a digital component. And so sustainability is about 2 things at a very simple level. It's about digital and physical, because you have to combine those things together to give you, first of all, the insights of what's going on. So what are my levers? And then you have to use automation and other tools to drive down cost and be able to make the energy efficiency or other aspects of sustainability, practical and real. So it's bringing those 2 things together, the physical and digital. So that's what I've been on, and that's taken me around the world. And I've had the privilege of working in many countries. And like you mentioned at Shell, it was such an amazing. I was recruited by them as well, and had the opportunity to help build one of the largest renewables and energy businesses on the planet, focused all across sustainability, everything from nature-based solutions, so down in, planting mangroves and doing restoration in key areas like the Amazon rainforest, all the way over to green hydrogen and how you do hydrogen liquefaction, put it on ships and take it to countries like Japan that have energy scarcity, really diving into energy efficiency, diving into, really putting forward electric vehicle mobility, offshore wind, all these different aspects of how you actually deliver energy transition and sustainability in its different form factors around the world. So one of the things that's really key is that where you sit is where you stand, meaning that what your business model is for your company and where it's located in the world are going to depend and determine rather what you need to do from a sustainability perspective. And so literally working around the world in different climates and different temperatures and different regulatory constructs really helped me gain a huge sense of empathy and real compassion for how we do it. And that the needs in India are going to be very different than the needs, in the Philippines, which are going to be very different than the needs in Germany or whatnot. And yet the global supply chain truly is integrated. And so and that brings us right back to the heart of retail and CPG. So many things, whether it's and this brings us to one of our wonderful customers that we're doing work with sustainability, a great company called Ingredion. They source ingredients for many, many global brands that we're all familiar with, focusing on sweeteners and starches and so forth. And so they need to know, and in turn, their customers need to know that those ingredients are pure. If they say they're organic, they're organic. This principle of provenance is so important. And when you deal with complicated supply chains that touch all these different countries, it's so important. And that's where software comes in. And there's no other way to be able to track and trace and do these types of things. So we're really proud of our partnership with Ingredion and Microsoft and what we're doing. And it's about trust. Sustainability is really about trust.
I mean, it's so true. I love what you said about sort of where you sit is where you stand. And yet everyone is so connected. And so the ingredient example, it's the intention is there, but the complexity is also really there, which is, I think, what I see a lot and why I love to bring you into customer conversations when I meet with customers. Everybody, I think, obviously wants to leave the earth better than how they inherited it. It's just so hard to figure out where to start. So talk a little bit about, I guess narrowing in, you've given some great consumer goods examples already, but what do you see as top of mind in this area of sustainability and corporate responsibility?
Well, it's a great question. And I think that at this stage of my career as well, what I love most is being that partner to help our customers unpack that very question, where do I start? So that it's demystifying a complex topic into practical steps, in some cases, practical baby steps, and that's okay. And so where we start for any customer is, what is your business model? So it's very simple. We're talking commercial business. So how do you make your money, right? Where's your margin? Where's your growth? What is, are you, is it, so you know what your levers are, and then you add on top of that, you say, okay, then what are our contributing factors to emissions or water use, et cetera. And then when you put those two things together side by side, then you begin to get a picture of the options that you have around addressing your scope 1 or scope 2 or scope 3. And that's where our Microsoft Sustainability Manager tool comes in, is we can help you do that. We can bring all of that data together in a single place, help you look at it, and so that you have a basis to start. And then on a very practical basis, then you can begin to say, okay, well, now how am I going to sort my priorities? Because like everybody, we all have budgets. We all need to think about priorities. And then you can identify your biggest levers. And sometimes it's actually counterintuitive. Sometimes you think, people go, oh, maybe corporate travel is driving a lot of emissions because of airfare or something, or, airline, And another case, but in actuality, maybe it's not that at all. Maybe it is something around water, and so it's thinking just very practically. When you put your business model, how you make money next to the sustainability factors, then you can begin to have a plan. And when you have a plan, then you can begin to execute upon that plan. And so part of what I love to do is just help our customers break it down in very simple pieces. What's the right technology to apply to that, and then have a path forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just really started to frame where I want to go next, because I love that you start with margin, right? Because I think sometimes when I meet with customers, they think like, I want to do good, I want to be sustainable, but I also have to deliver my, sales or financial targets, and they are in conflict with each other. But the fact that you start and say, no, actually, how do you make your money? There is a lot of FUD about being sustainable, if you will, and good for the environment, but bad for the bottom line. And why do you think companies should care about sustainability as they think about their bottom line?
Well, it's exactly this, because if you think about, back up all the way and go, get out a dictionary like nobody does it anymore, and actually look up the meaning of the word sustainable. It is about being relevant in the future, right? What does every business want to be? Relevant in the future, right? And so what's exciting about sustainability is that it's that bringing together of different attributes for a multiple bottom line. And like I said, when you look at it from a commercial lens, combined with an environmental and social lens, and you look at those pieces together, then you can begin to, I say, uniquely by company, by business model, you can say, okay, now I can solve for this. And it's going to add differentiation, competitive advantage. And so it is, and I'll give you a specific example too. If you think about LED light bulbs, one of the privileges I had earlier in my career was I worked with UC Davis and Cree, one of the lighting and we actually helped develop the patent for LED lighting that was dimmable and also changed the color intensity. Because I said, going to retail, the LED light bulbs that originally came out, they were energy efficient, but they just made you look like you were, like ready for Halloween, because the bright light, and you're like, whoa, scary zombie attack, right? And I'm like, and I said, nobody, and being a woman, I'm like, no one's going to put that in a bathroom. There's no way. I don't want to look at myself in the mirror that way. No way. So you have to make energy efficiency beautiful. And so we actually went into the semiconductor partner all the way through the supply chain, and we solved the physics of the light bulb. And Cree was amazing, an amazing partner. And we came out with the very first LED with all of the super energy efficiency savings for not a higher cost, but that gave you the beauty, that gave you all of the attributes of the soft, warm light. Those things took off like wildfire. They just sold, couldn't keep them on the shelves. I mean, so big retailers, Home Depot, Walmart, they were just flying off the shelves. So that's a good example of energy efficiency innovation combined with the consumer in mind, bringing the best of retail, bringing the best of marketing to bear. You create a product that, boom, I mean, that put Cree on the map. That transformed that company and was a huge profit maker for them.
Wow. I mean, yeah, because you're right. Whenever anyone goes into a fitting room, I remember this from my Gap days, if the lighting isn't flattering, you're not going to buy the clothes, regardless of how great the clothes are. And so connecting sort of LED lighting to kind of the value proposition of the brand at a lower cost. I mean, that's as our CEO would say, no regrets decision.
Well, exactly. And you just used one of my very favorite phrases, Shelley, which is no regrets. So that my life work of my whole career is making sustainability, bringing it together so it's a no regrets decision. And so when you align it right into the heart and the DNA of the business model, of the industry, where you are, you will come out with really innovative solutions that are, fantastic for the business. And that's what's so cool about how Microsoft has set us up, is that you have the deep industry vertical, and then I'm the horizontal with sustainability. And so together we can bring those two pieces, just like we're talking about today, to help our customers solve exactly what makes sense, that's fit for purpose for them and for their business.
Exactly. Elizabeth, I think one of the things that there were so many heartbreaking things about the pandemic, but one of the things that actually was inspiring to me is I thought sustainability might get somewhat deprioritized, just given all the things that were going on in the world. But actually, I saw it resurge or maintain a tenacity with our customers, and frankly, even more important today. But
Yes.
when you have those cynics, those customers who kind of don't see the congruence between, good for business, good for the world, how do you make the case with the C-suites and the boards?
Well, it's really interesting because, and I've been an experienced publicly listed board member myself. Every board, whether it's NASDAQ listed, FTSE listed, Nikkei listed, et cetera, you have to have a board audit committee. So again, it comes back to the heart and soul of the ethics of the company. It comes back to safety, security, these types of basics, and sustainability is right there in the core of the business. And so that is what is different today. And so the conversation is about, again, is my company going to be relevant 3 years from now, 5 years from 10 years from now? Boards set strategy for a company. They have to make sure that that company is on a path, profitable, yes, this quarter, but on a path to make money and create ongoing long-term shareholder value. And so today, if you want to have a license to operate in the physical world, you have to be responsible about how you operate it. And so irregardless, so the cynics, they may call it safety or they may call it whatever they call it, and that's fine. Because I'll give you another specific example, and this is from an industrial application. But if you think about safety, the very sensors that we use with a partner like Honeywell that would provide the sensorization for a deep manufacturing process that would give you indications of, say, a gas leakage or a dangerous chemical leakage or something like that. Those same sensors are going to tell you if you have an emissions leak, which is related to, say, scope 2 or scope 1. And so all these things come together. And then the software, we can gather that data. So you don't have to resensorize your entire manufacturing shop floor. You actually just solve the data problem and say, look, the same sensorizations that we have to do for human safety, for leak detection, those types of things in a deep manufacturing environment, same thing. We can take that data and now apply it and say, okay, here's our picture of emissions. And guess what? If you are solving emissions and solving leakage, you're solving human safety and you're going to save money because, let's face it, more than ever, you don't want to leak because that's costing you. That's flushing fixed cost right out the door.
Right. Well,
it all comes together.
It really does. And, this is why you're so effective. You've touched on this already, but maybe like one click deeper, like where do you think Microsoft really fits in all of this?
It's a great question, and it's something that comes up often. I think the key for Microsoft, where we fit in, is a couple of different layers. So software is, of course, the stack and has different layers. Where Microsoft is able to do is we're able to provide the certainty of information and data quality at scale. And so that is really unique and that is really important. And then the same trust that we talk about, whether we're talking about security or cyber or whatnot, again, it's a trust mechanism for sustainability. And more, and you see that boards are going to be in the hot seat, CEOs, the C-suite are in the hot seat. It's becoming regulatory reality that's going to have to be third-party assured, that you can say that what you're doing is what it is, that what you're buying is what it is. And so this is right around the corner with the SEC regulation that's already reality in Europe with the EU taxonomy and UK, Japan, others. And so this is compliance alone to me isn't, innovation is awesome, but compliance is essential. And so I'll give you an example with the SEC. So a number of years ago, they put the critical minerals rules on SEC that go into, minerals for batteries and all sorts of things, that you have to have that disclosure around critical minerals and your supply chain. And so they already are doing aspects of provenance. And so it's just a very simple step over what they're talking about then with the SEC regulations over climate. And that's coming. That's right around the corner. And so it's really important on a very basic level. Microsoft can help then with making sure that you have the data integrity, because like so many things in a complex organization with multiple P&Ls and so forth and multiple cost centers, a lot of times relative to sustainability and what you're going to have to do reporting, it's all over the place. And so we can, with our sustainability manager, bring that together for you, be able to have a very clear picture of where you are, and then linking back to our earlier conversation, help you then understand your meaningful levers to drive your business growth and do sustainability at the same time. And that to me is super cool.
That is. And I just want to, there are so many nuggets in what you just said, but the one, like the certainty of information and data quality at scale. Like that is, I think, one of the things that so many of our customers are struggling with. So crystal ball time, which is not really a fair question. But
this is new digital transformation. It really is, because it's right at the heart of the enterprise.
Yeah. So what do you think, what does the future hold for brands and retailers who are, want to learn more about sustainability?
Well, it comes back to, and I think I love the word brand, because brand is about trust. And we know this about how you build brand equity, and sustainability and brand go hard. So I think the mindset, there's already sort of a kindred spirit mindset there. And so then it's about sort of opening the aperture of the view to include sustainability more broadly. So that's very exciting. And I think that where the future is going is actually, huge innovation around the what and the how. And so that to me is really exciting, because when you open the aperture and when you actually begin to recombine different things that you do, oh my gosh, you open up new business models, new ways to make money. That's what innovation is all about. And it's so cool. And so if you think about going back to food, because I'm a foodie, and this was one of your questions that I can't wait to get to. I don't want to run out of time, so I'm going to answer it before you ask it, which is, what's the weirdest food I've eaten, which are crickets. And so cricket protein, but it's an alternative protein. And so these are the types of things that, maybe not in cricket form because it's kind of weird to look at, but cricket protein powder, new types of proteins. These are types of sustainable innovations where you can lower your footprint on water and agriculture and land use. These are things that when you have technology neutrality as a principle, but driving an outcome as a goal, and you're ambitious and you open your thought, you can solve hunger, you can solve margin, you can solve growth and taste and all sorts of things. And, and another one to give you so I love ingredients, so it's quite cool. There's all these different things like cricket powder for protein, taking the waste from coffee beans, which actually has a high nutritional value from the coffee cherry itself, and creating a powder for that. And that is a superfood that's more valuable than spinach or blueberries. And so it's changing our mindset from waste into new products and new innovation. And so to me, there are whole new businesses, whole new industries just ready to go.
That's amazing. I mean, were the crickets, was it chocolate covered, or were they just straight up crickets? How were they prepared for you?
Crickets with a little salt and pepper.
Really? Okay, a fried cricket. Yeah. Well, I mean, I always thought you were adventuresome, but I mean, you're on the new categories. It's funny. I was just reading an article, the oat milk, which, really didn't exist, but now all these, it started with almond milk, then there was coconut milk. Now it's oat milk is taking the center stage.
See, exactly. And this is a core principle that to me is my passion, this is about creating a bigger pie. This is about, it's opening the mindset, opening the aperture, creating the bigger pie for business. So when you think about bamboo in clothing, I mean, it's amazing, amazing. I mean, I have a bamboo t-shirt and it's so soft. It's my fave, and so if you think about actually the attributes of quality and comfort and durability, a protein, you can go take a category. And if you're really lined up with the principles of what is going to delight our consumer or our end customer, and then you combine it with sustainability lens wow, you can do amazing innovation for your business that's going to drive new growth, open new markets. It's super cool. That's why I love this so much.
It is so cool. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if you have Rothy's, but they're the shoes that are made completely out of recycled plastic bottles. And they're really cute. Whenever I wear them, people are like, where'd you get those? And I feel they're cute and I feel better wearing them.
Well, see, and exactly. And that is circularity. And so
Yeah.
this is really, sustainability is a mindset. And when you take on that mindset, you unleash all this creativity that is really good for business.
Completely. Okay, so you preempted me, which I love, but we've added this sort of, in season 3 of Taking Stock Live, Fun 5, but we're going to reduce them down to Fun 4 because we now know the weirdest thing you've ever eaten, but it seems completely normal at this point. So next question is, who's your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero is RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She is awesome. RBG.
Notorious RBG. I'm a Jew with a Christmas tree, and she's my favorite ornament as well.
That's great. That's awesome.
Best invention ever.
Oh my goodness. Best invention ever. That is so hard. I'll have to say the wheel.
Yeah. Oh, good one. That's where we would not be anywhere without the wheel. That's okay. Right. If you could be a fly on the wall anywhere, anytime, what would you want to listen in on and why?
Well, that is a tricky one because I actually have a lot. I think it's really so taking it's like concentric circles. I mean, I wish that my mom has passed on, but I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when she was around, like with my grandparents and stuff like that, and really got to know my family better. I would have loved that. And then I think now, with everything going on in the world, I would love to be a fly on the wall in some of these big top secret negotiations and meetings with governments and policymakers because it's so hard to know what's really going on. So I would love to be a fly on the wall to know what's really going on. What is really going on?
Well, I am quite confident the world would be in a better place if you were in that room knowing what was really going on. And if your mom were around, she would be so incredibly proud and inspired by you.
Well, you're so kind, Shelley. It's so much fun. I'm so grateful we get to work together.
Me too. Okay, so this one, what would be your dream job and why?
I am in my dream job.
Why?
Why? I'm in my dream job because it goes back to what I said before, is that really in the position with an incredible company like Microsoft that has a global platform and that is serious about the technology and brave about backing environmental sustainability, backing women, backing, social justice, backing the things across ESG that matter, integrity. I mean, I am so proud. It is such an honor to be part of this company with our culture. So with that culture, I mean, Peter Drucker said it, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Microsoft has the culture and the strategy that sets us up to be able to do this work with mission. And that is a huge privilege. I mean, and I don't take it for granted any day. It is hard work. It's complex work. And we're just at the beginning of this journey. I mean, we just launched sustainability at Microsoft in June, so literally 1 quarter ago. We are at the beginning of a journey, but that's where I'm so excited to work together with all of our customers because like you said, the customers are at the beginning trying to figure out how we do it. So together, I think that sets us up to be the best partners with a lot of humility because it is complex and it is hard, but it's super worthy.
Wow. Well, Elisabeth, I knew coming into this conversation that one of our leadership principles is around generating energy, not the kind of energy that you deal with every day, but the energy that you can feel just like popping through the screen in conversations with you. You definitely did that for me. And I'm just so incredibly grateful that you decided to take the time to join me and the audience out there to share your perspective.
Well, thank you so much, Shelley. I really appreciate the invitation. We'll have to do this again. So
I know, maybe in person.
I already told my team, I'm like, this is so much
at the
fun.
Hill with a customer.
We'll get some, and then we'll turn the tables, and we'll keep the conversation going. I love it.
I love it too. Well, thank you so much for joining all of us today. And for all of you out there who joined in season 3 of Taking Stock Live, we love listening or reading your comments that you put in LinkedIn. We always want to be responsive to what you want to hear about. So tell us what you love, tell us what you wish you had heard more of, and just keep the engagement going. And thank you so very much.